Question 1. Court-martial jurisdiction and due process. During a major transformation where existing methods of military justice are being re-evaluated, a service member is accused of espionage while stationed overseas. The accused is a U.S. Army officer and the offense allegedly took place in a country where the United States has a status of forces agreement, SOFA. The officer argues that he should be tried under civilian law rather than by court-martial. The military prosecution asserts jurisdiction under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Given these circumstances, which of the following best explains the jurisdictional authority over the accused? A. The officer must be tried under the host nation's legal system due to the SOFA agreement. B. The officer may only be tried in the U.S. federal court as espionages, a national security offense. C. The officer is subject to court-martial under the UPNJ's military personnel fall under military jurisdiction for offenses committed overseas. D. The officer may request trial in a military tribunal instead of a court-martial. Answer. C. The officer is subject to court-martial under the UPNJ's military personnel fall under military jurisdiction for offenses committed overseas. Explanation. Under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 18, general courts-martial have jurisdiction over all persons subject to the UPNJ, including offences committed abroad, while status of forces agreements, SOFAs, can dictate aspects of legal jurisdiction. United States typically retains authority over its military personnel, especially for crimes affecting national security. Espionages. A serious offence under Article 106 of the UPNJ, and such cases generally remain under military jurisdiction. Option is incorrect because while SOFAs define jurisdictional boundaries, they do not automatically transfer legal authority to the host nation, particularly for offenses against U.S. national security. Option B is incorrect because espionage by a military officer falls under military jurisdiction rather than civilian courts unless the case is transferred by federal authority. Option D is incorrect because military tribunals are used for non-military personnel, e.g. enemy combatants, and do not replace court-martial procedures for service members. This question tests the candidate's understanding of jurisdictional authority, UPNJ application abroad, and SOFA agreements, which are critical to military legal practice. Question 2. Rules of engagement, Roe, and law of armed conflict. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly under high-pressure conditions, a unit commander receives intelligence about an imminent terrorist attack on a civilian building in an active war zone. The attack is reportedly being coordinated from inside a hospital used by enemy combatants as a base of operations. The commander must decide whether to launch airstrike under the law of armed conflict. Which of the following principles best applies to this scenario? A. The airstrike is permissible because any location used by enemy combatants is a lawful military target. B. The attack must be proportionate and minimize harm to civilians, even if the location is being used for military purposes. C. The hospital remains off-limits under all circumstances as medical facilities are protected sites under international law. D. The commander should wait until enemy combatants exit the hospital, engaging to avoid legal repercussions. Answer. B. The attack must be proportionate and minimize harm to civilians, even if the location is being used for military purposes. Explanation. The law of armed conflict, and rules of engagement, ROE, are governed by customary international law and treaties, including the Geneva Conventions, while military necessity allows for targeting legitimate threats. The principle of proportionality, Article 51 of Additional Protocol I, Geneva Conventions, dictates that an attack must not cause excessive civilian harm compared to the anticipated military advantage. Option is incorrect because while enemy combatants using a civilian facility may justify targeting, blanket targeting of any structure they occupy violates the principle of distinction. Option C is incorrect because medical facilities lose protected status if used for military operations, but an attack must still consider proportionality and necessity. Option D is incorrect because waiting for enemy combatants to exit is not always practical or legally required. The key issue is proportionality and avoiding unnecessary harm. This scenario challenges candidates to apply LOPE principles, specifically distinction, proportionality, and necessity, which are crucial in operational decision-making. Question 3. Military ethics and command responsibility. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted by escalating conflicts, a commanding officer receives reports of possible unlawful killings by soldiers under their command. The officer, preoccupied with critical battlefield logistics, fails to investigate the allegations. Later, it is revealed that the soldiers engaged in war crimes. Under military law, what is the commanding officer's legal responsibility? A. The officer is not liable because they did not directly order the war crimes. B. The officer may be held responsible under the principle of command responsibility for failing to prevent or address the violations. C. The officer is only responsible if there is written evidence proving they explicitly permitted the war crimes. D. The officer can avoid liability by testifying that they were unaware of the specific details. Answer. B. The officer may be held responsible under the principle of command responsibility for failing to prevent or address the violations. Explanation. The doctrine of command responsibility, recognized under both military law and international law. E.g., the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, Article 28, holds that commanders can be criminally liable for failing to prevent or punish war crimes committed by subordinates. They knew or should have known about them. Article 92 of the UNCH, failure to obey an order or regulation, and Article 77, principles, reinforce this doctrine by establishing the liability of superiors who neglect their duty to control their forces. Option is incorrect because command responsibility applies even if the officer did not issue direct orders. Option C is incorrect because liability does not require explicit approval but rather knowledge and failure to act. Option D is incorrect because willful blindness does not exempt a commander from legal responsibility. They are expected to maintain oversight. This question reinforces command responsibility, military ethics, and accountability, all of which are critical in military legal education. Question 4. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a commanding officer in a deployed military unit receives conflicting orders from higher authorities regarding the treatment of detainees captured during combat operations. One order emphasizes strict adherence to the Geneva Conventions, ensuring humane treatment and full legal rights. The other, citing national security concerns, instructs officers to apply interrogation techniques to extract critical intelligence. The officer is aware that failure to comply with direct orders could lead to charges under the Uniform Code of Military Justice for insubordination. However, obeying the latter directive could result in violations of international humanitarian law. Which of the following is the most legally justifiable course of action for the officer? A. Follow the order permitting enhanced interrogation techniques, citing military necessity in an emergency. B. Disregard the order for enhanced interrogation and strictly adhere to the Geneva Conventions, as international law supersedes conflicting directives. C. Request clarification from the chain of command while delaying interrogation until a legally permissible course of action is established. D. Proceed with interrogations but document concerns. Seek legal counsel afterward to avoid personal liability. Answer. C. Request clarification from the chain of command while delaying interrogation until a legally permissible course of action is established. Explanation. Under military law, service members are required to follow lawful orders, but they must also refuse unlawful orders. The Geneva Conventions, especially Article 3, common to the Geneva Conventions, prohibit torture and inhumane treatment of prisoners, regardless of military necessity. The UNCH criminalizes violations of international laws, including war crimes. Article 18 of the UNCH War Crimes Act. Option is incorrect because military necessity does not justify violations of international law. Even in emergencies, officers must comply with the law of armed conflict. Option B is too absolute and lacks procedural prudence. While adherence to the Geneva Conventions is correct, outright refusal without seeking clarification could be seen as failing to engage the command structure. Option D is incorrect because proceeding with interrogations, regardless of documentation, can still result in criminal liability under military and international law. Documentation does not protect against liability for unlawful actions. Option C is correct because seeking clarification ensures compliance with both national and international legal frameworks while avoiding unlawful conduct. The officer is also fulfilling their duty to act with due diligence in complex legal situation. Question 5. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical battlefield needs, a military unit is stationed in a foreign country under a status of forces agreement, SOFA. The agreement requires service members to comply with host nation laws unless specifically exempted. However, due to escalating hostilities, the local authorities impose curfews and movement restrictions that hinder military operations. The unit's commander must decide whether prioritize mission effectiveness over strict adherence to the SOFA, which could lead to diplomatic disputes. Which of the following best aligns with legal and operational considerations? A. Disregard the host nation's restrictions, as military operations take precedence over local laws under international law. B. Comply fully with local laws, even if it severely limits operational effectiveness. C. Engage in diplomatic channels to negotiate exemptions or temporary modifications to the SOFA while maintaining operational readiness. D. Secretly conduct operations despite the curfew as long as no local authorities become aware. Answer: C. Engage in diplomatic channels to negotiate exemptions or temporary modifications to the SOFA while maintaining operational readiness. Explanation: SOFAs govern the legal status of U.S. military forces in host nations, balancing operational needs with respect for local sovereignty. In this scenario, option is incorrect because international law, including SOFAs, requires compliance with host nation laws unless specific exemptions are granted. Unilateral action could lead to diplomatic consequences or legal repercussions. Option B is incorrect because strict compliance could critically impair mission success, which is not a feasible military strategy. Option D is incorrect because covertly violating host nation laws could damage military credibility, strain diplomatic relations, and expose personnel to legal liability. Option C is correct because negotiating exemptions aligns with both legal obligations and operational flexibility. Military commanders frequently engage with host nation authorities to ensure mission success while maintaining diplomatic relations. Question 6. When improving a process that shows unexpected results, a military commander oversees a court-martial case involving a high-ranking officer accused of financial misconduct. The defense argues that the investigation was flawed due to procedural errors in evidence handling. The prosecution, however, claims that the errors were minor and do not justify dismissing the case. The judge must decide whether to allow the case to proceed. What is the best decision in this situation? A. Dismiss the case entirely, as procedural errors automatically invalidate the proceedings. B. Allow the case to proceed but limit the use of any improperly handled evidence. C. Continue the trial without modification, as minor errors do not affect the overall case. D. Declare a mistrial and order a new investigation to eliminate any procedural concerns. Answer: B. Allow the case to proceed but limit the use of any improperly handled evidence. Explanation: military justice follows the principles of due process, which require fairness but also consider the significance of procedural errors. Under the option is incorrect because not all procedural errors lead to automatic dismissal. Courts assess whether errors materially impact the defendant's rights. Option C is incorrect because ignoring procedural flaws could violate due process and lead to appealable errors. Option D is overly severe. Declaring mistrial is last resort, used when errors compromise the fundamental fairness of the trial. Option B is correct because courts commonly apply the exclusionary rule, where improperly obtained evidence may be restricted without dismissing the entire case. This approach ensures justice while upholding legal integrity. Question 7. During a major transformation where existing methods are being restructured, the military is revising its rules of engagement. Row for cyber warfare. Some policymakers advocate for aggressive preemptive strikes against cyber threats, while others emphasize strict compliance with international norms. The challenge is balancing national security interests with legal limitations on military cyber operations. Which approach best align? Both military effectiveness and legal constraints. A. Authorizing preemptive cyber operations against perceived threats without formal legal approval. B. Restricting military cyber operations only to defensive actions, regardless of potential threats. C. Implementing a policy where military cyber actions must be justified under the principles of proportionality and necessity before execution. D. Delegating all cyber warfare decisions to civilian policymakers without military input. Answer: C. Implementing a policy where military cyber actions must be justified under the principles of proportionality and necessity before execution. Explanation: cyber warfare falls under both domestic military law and international treaties such as the Tallinn Manual on International Law applicable to cyber warfare. Option is incorrect because preemptive strikes without oversight violate international norms and could be considered acts of aggression. Option B is incorrect because a purely defensive stance may render the military ineffective against evolving cyber threats. Option D is incorrect because military expertise is essential in crafting effective cyber strategies. Option C is correct because proportionality, ensuring responses are measured, and necessity, ensuring legitimate military objectives, are key legal principles in cyber operations. This aligns military strategy with international law while maintaining operational effectiveness. Question 8. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, an organization must quickly deploy disaster relief teams while maintaining communication with government agencies and non-governmental organizations and goes. However, inconsistent data on affected regions leads to conflicting resource allocation strategies. Some stakeholders advocate for a rapid deployment based on preliminary reports, while others insist on for more accurate assessments before committing resources. What is the best course of action in this situation? A. Deploy resources immediately based on preliminary data to maximize response speed. B. Delay deployment until all reports are fully verified to prevent misallocation. C. Establish a phased deployment strategy, prioritizing high-risk areas while refining data collection. D. Rely on governmental assessments alone, as they have official jurisdiction over disaster relief. Answer. C. Establish a phased deployment strategy, prioritizing high-risk areas while refining data collection. Explanation. Effective emergency response balances speed and accuracy, while rapid action is necessary. Relying solely on preliminary data, option A, can lead to inefficiencies. Delaying all actions until full verification, option B, risks missing critical response windows. Depending only on governmental assessments, option D, overlook on-the-ground realities. A phased approach, option C, ensures the immediate needs are met while refining the response with updated data, maximizing efficiency and impact. Question 9. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements must be met, a company is implementing new cybersecurity policies across global offices. However, regulatory requirements differ by country, leading to inconsistencies in policy enforcement. Some regions require stricter measures while others allow for flexibility. Which approach best ensures both security and compliance? A. Implement a uniform global policy, even if it conflicts with local regulations. B. Develop region-specific policies that fully comply with local laws while maintaining core security principles. C. Allow each region to create independent policies without global oversight. D. Enforce the strictest standard globally to ensure maximum security. Answer. B. Develop region-specific policies that fully comply with local laws while maintaining core security principles. Explanation. A flexible, yet standardized approach is essential. A uniform policy, option A, could violate local laws, while independent policies, option C, risk security gaps. Enforcing the strictest standard globally, option D, may be impractical and lead to non-compliance in some areas. Option B is correct because it balances compliance with security, allowing necessary adaptations while maintaining a consistent security framework. Question 10. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a large manufacturing facility, engineers noticed that small inefficiencies in one production phase cause major delays in later stages. Addressing these issues requires either extensive retraining of workers or expensive equipment upgrades. What is the most strategic decision? A. Focus solely on retraining workers to optimize current systems. B. Invest in new equipment immediately to eliminate inefficiencies. C. Conduct a cost-benefit analysis to determine whether training or upgrades provide better long-term value. D. Maintain current processes and address inefficiencies as they occur. Answer. C. Conduct a cost-benefit analysis to determine whether training or upgrades provide better long-term value. Explanation. Effective problem-solving requires evaluating both short-term fixes and long-term improvements. Retraining alone, option A, may not solve systemic inefficiencies. Investing in new equipment immediately, option B, might not be cost-effective. Ignoring the issue, option D, allows inefficiencies to persist. Option C is the best choice as it ensures an informed decision by balancing cost and operational impact. Question 11. When implementing backup procedures across various its systems, a company discovers that its cloud-based recovery system fails to sync correctly with on-premises servers. Some departments advocate for transitioning entirely to the cloud, while others argue for maintaining local backups. Which strategy best addresses both reliability and risk management? A. Transition fully to cloud-based backups for ease of access. B. Maintain only local backups to ensure full data control. C. Implement a hybrid backup system that uses both cloud and local storage. D. Delay changes until a perfect solution is identified. Answer: C. Implement a hybrid backup system that uses both cloud and local storage. Explanation: a hybrid backup system, option C, provides redundancy, ensuring data availability even if one system fails. Full cloud reliance, option A, introduces internet dependency risks, while local-only storage, option B, is vulnerable to physical damage. Delaying changes, option D, exposes the company to potential data loss. Question 12. When developing a solution that must address opposing needs, a company must balance customer privacy with the need for personalized services. Some stakeholders advocate for extensive data collection, while others prioritize strict data minimization. What is the best approach? A. Collect and use all available data to optimize personalization. B. Minimize data collection to the strictest legal standard, even at the expense of user experience. C. Implement a user control privacy system where customers can choose their data sharing preferences. D. Avoid personalization features to eliminate data privacy concerns. Answer: C. Implement a user control privacy system where customers can choose their data sharing preferences. Explanation: giving users control, option C, balances personalization with privacy concerns. Full data collection, option A, risks compliance issues, while extreme minimization, option B, reduces functionality. Eliminating personalization, option D, may harm user experience. Question 13. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, an organization finds that its employee evaluation system is outdated. The existing system does not effectively measure employee contributions, but any changes could disrupt current workflows. What is the best way to proceed? A. Immediately replace the system with a modern alternative. B. Maintain the current system to avoid disruptions. C. Gradually introduce new evaluation metrics while phasing out the old system. D. Rely on subjective feedback instead of structured evaluations. Answer: C. Gradually introduce new evaluation metrics while phasing out the old system. Explanation: a phased approach, option C, minimizes disruptions while improving accuracy over time. Immediate replacement, option A, could lead to resistance while maintaining the outdated system. Option B ignores the problem. Subjective feedback alone, option D, lacks consistency. Question 14. While investigating a complicated issue between different company departments, leaders discover the conflicting performance incentives create inefficiencies. One department prioritizes speed, while another values accuracy. What is the most effective solution? A. Standardize performance incentives across all departments. B. Allow each department to maintain its own incentive structure. C. Design a shared incentive system that aligns speed and accuracy goals. D. Remove incentives entirely to avoid conflicts. Answer: C. Design a shared incentive system that aligns speed and accuracy goals. Explanation: aligning incentives, option C, encourages cooperation without sacrificing efficiency. A one-size-fits-all approach, option A, may not suit different roles, while separate incentives, option B, perpetuate inefficiencies. Removing incentives, option D, could reduce motivation. Question 15. During a critical transition period where existing processes are being automated, a company faces resistance from employees who are concerned about job security and the complexity of the new system. Management must ensure a smooth transition while maintaining employee morale and productivity. What is the most effective approach? A. Implement the new system immediately and require employees to adapt. B. Conduct training sessions and gradually phase in the new system while addressing employee concerns. C. Delay automation indefinitely to maintain workplace harmony. D. Assign only a few employees to work with the new system while others continue using the old processes. Answer: B. Conduct training sessions and gradually phase in the new system while addressing employee concerns. Explanation: a gradual transition, option B, allows employees to adjust while reducing resistance. Sudden implementation, option A, creates uncertainty while delaying automation. Option C, prevents progress. A mixed approach, option D, could lead to inefficiencies and confusion. Question 16. In a situation where resource allocation becomes critical, a hospital faces a shortage of medical supplies while handling an unexpected surge in patients. Some staff suggest prioritizing critical cases, while others argue for an even distribution of supplies. Which strategy best ensures effective resource management? A. Allocate resources equally among all patients, regardless of severity. B. Prioritize critical cases while monitoring supply levels and seeking alternative sources. C. Restrict treatment until more supplies arrive. D. Distribute supplies randomly to avoid bias. Answer: B. Prioritize critical cases while monitoring supply levels and seeking alternative sources. Explanation: Triage-based allocation. Option B ensures that those in urgent need receive immediate care while efforts are made to restock supplies. Equal distribution. Option A may not save the most lives while restricting treatment. Option C is unethical. Random distribution. Option D ignores medical necessity. Question 17. While examining inconsistencies across various units, the company discovers that different teams are using conflicting data sources, leading to reporting errors and inefficiencies. Some teams advocate for a standardized system, while others prefer maintaining their existing methods. What is the best resolution? A. Allow teams to continue using their preferred methods to maintain workflow familiarity. B. Implement a centralized system with clear guidelines to ensure consistency. C. Disregard minor inconsistencies and focus on overall performance. D. Rotate reporting methods every quarter to accommodate different teams. Answer: B. Implement a centralized system with clear guidelines to ensure consistency. Explanation: Standardization. Option B improves accuracy and efficiency, preventing errors from inconsistent data sources. Maintaining different methods. Option A prolongs inefficiencies while ignoring inconsistencies. Option C can lead to poor decision-making. Rotating methods. Option D creates further confusion. Question 18. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, a research laboratory introduces stricter safety regulations. However, some researchers argue that the changes slowed down experiments, while others believe safety should be prioritized. What is the best compromise? A. Maintain existing protocols to avoid disruptions. B. Enforce all new safety regulations immediately, regardless of concerns. C. Integrate safety measures gradually while optimizing workflows. D. Allow researchers to decide individually whether to follow the new protocols. Answer: C. Integrate safety measures gradually while optimizing workflows. Explanation: Gradual integration. Option C allows for both safety and efficiency, giving researchers time to adjust while optimizing procedures. Ignoring safety. Option A is risky, while immediate enforcement. Option B may cause resistance. Allowing individual choice. Option D leads to inconsistency. Question 19. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges require urgent attention, a corporate crisis team must address a financial downturn, a public relations scandal, and internal workforce dissatisfaction. Which approach is most effective? A. Prioritize one issue at a time, completing each before moving on. B. Assign specialized teams to handle each challenge simultaneously. C. Focus only on the financial downturn as it has the greatest long-term impact. D. Address all issues at once without a structured approach. Answer: B. Assign specialized teams to handle each challenge simultaneously. Explanation: Dividing tasks among specialized teams. Option B ensures that each issue gets the necessary attention without neglecting others. A sequential approach. Option A delays resolutions while focusing solely on finance. Option C ignores other critical aspects. Handling everything without structure. Option D leads to confusion. Question 20. While updating traditional approaches where interconnections exist between different departments, accompanies its system upgrade causes compatibility issues with legacy software used by accounting and HR teams. What is the best course of action? A. Force all departments to switch to the new system immediately. B. Develop transition plan that includes phased integration and technical support. C. Maintain old systems indefinitely to avoid complications. D. Allow each department to decide whether to upgrade or not. Answer: B. Develop a transition plan that includes phased integration and technical support. Explanation: A structured transition plan. Option B minimizes disruptions and ensures compatibility, forcing immediate adoption. Option A creates operational risks while keeping outdated systems indefinitely. Option C prevents progress, allowing independent decisions. Option D leads to inconsistency. Question 21. During a seamless transition where continuity must be maintained, a logistics company shifts to a new supply chain management system. Some suppliers experience delays due to miscommunication about the new processes. What is the best response? A. Continue the transition without adjustments and let suppliers adapt. B. Provide additional training and support to suppliers while addressing delays. C. Revert to the old system to maintain stability. D. Penalize suppliers for not adjusting quickly. Answer: B. Provide additional training and support to suppliers while addressing delays. Explanation: supporting suppliers. Option B ensures long-term success while minimizing disruptions. Forcing adaptation without help. Option A risks continued delays while reverting to the old system. Option C negates progress. Penalizing suppliers. Option D damages relationships. Question 22. In an environment where different components must interact, a transportation network upgrades its traffic management system, but some city districts have outdated infrastructure that cannot support the changes. What is the best solution? A. Delay the upgrade until all districts can support it. B. Implement upgrades in compatible areas first while assisting others with modernization. C. Enforce the upgrade citywide, regardless of compatibility issues. D. Allow each district to operate independently without synchronization. Answer: B. Implement upgrades in compatible areas first while assisting others with modernization. Explanation: a phased implementation. Option B ensures progress while helping outdated areas transition. Delaying entirely. Option A prevents improvements while forcing the upgrade. Option C may cause system failures. Operating independently. Option D reduces efficiency. Question 23. When improving a process that shows unexpected results, a pharmaceutical company finds that a newly developed drug interacts unpredictably with certain conditions. What is the best approach? A. Continue production without further research. B. Halt production and abandon the drug entirely. C. Conduct further testing to determine the cause and refine the formulation. D. Release the drug with warning labels about potential interactions. Answer: C. Conduct further testing to determine the cause and refine the formulation. Explanation: further research. Option C ensures patient safety and regulatory compliance. Continuing without testing. Option A is unsafe while abandoning the drug. Option B is premature. Warning labels alone. Option D do not address the issue. Question 24. When scaling up operations that experience significant variability in demand, a manufacturing company struggles to balance production efficiency with inventory costs. Some managers argue for increased stockpiling, while others suggest producing on demand. What is the most effective approach? A. Stockpile large amounts of inventory to prevent shortages. B. Switch entirely to just-in-time JIT production to reduce inventory costs. C. Implement a hybrid approach balancing safety stock with demand forecasting. D. Reduce production and rely on outsourcing during peak demand. Answer: C. Implement a hybrid approach balancing safety stock with demand forecasting. Explanation: a hybrid approach, option C, optimizes efficiency and reduces waste, ensuring sufficient inventory without excessive storage costs. Stockpiling, option A, increases holding costs, while JIT production, option B, may lead to shortages during unexpected demand spikes. Outsourcing, option D, can be expensive and reduce control. Quote. Question 25. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a city's disaster management team must allocate limited rescue resources between severely affected regions and those with moderate damage. What is the most effective response? A. Focus all resources on the most affected areas, ignoring less impacted zones. B. Distribute resources equally across all areas, regardless of severity. C. Prioritize critical areas while ensuring minimal support for less affected zones. D. Wait for external assistance before deploying resources. Answer: C. Prioritize critical areas while ensuring minimal support for less affected zones. Explanation: a balanced approach, option C, ensures that life-threatening situations receive immediate attention while still supporting less affected areas. Focusing only on severe cases, option A, leaves others vulnerable, while equal distribution, option B, may neglect those in dire need. Waiting for external aid, option D, delays action. Question 26. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a logistics network, a company notices frequent shipment delays due to inconsistent supplier performance and inaccurate tracking systems. Which strategy would be most effective? A. Replace all suppliers immediately to ensure better reliability. B. Invest in a robust tracking system and work with suppliers to improve performance. C. Ignore minor delays and focus only on major disruptions. D. Reduce the number of suppliers to simplify the network. Answer: B. Invest in a robust tracking system and work with suppliers to improve performance. Explanation. Enhancing tracking. Option B. Improves visibility while supplier collaboration ensures consistency. Replacing suppliers. Option A is costly and disruptive. Ignoring minor delays. Option C allows problems to worsen, and reducing suppliers. Option D may limit flexibility. Question 27. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements must be met, a retail chain struggles to standardize customer service practices across stores in different regions with unique customer demographics. What is the best way to ensure consistency while respecting regional differences? A. Enforce identical policies in all locations without flexibility. B. Develop core guidelines while allowing minor regional adaptations. C. Let each store create its own customer service standards. D. Rotate employees between locations to enforce a single culture. Answer. B. Develop core guidelines while allowing minor regional adaptations. Explanation. A flexible standard. Option B maintains brand identity while accommodating regional differences. Rigid enforcement. Option A may alienate customers. Independent policies. Option C create inconsistencies and rotating employees. Option D disrupts local expertise. Question 28. When developing a solution that must address opposing needs, a company designing a software platform faces tension between security specialists who demand stricter controls and user experience designers who seek easier access. What is the most effective resolution? A. Prioritize security even if it complicates user experience. B. Prioritize user experience even if security is slightly compromised. C. Develop a balanced solution integrating strong security with user-friendly features. D. Allow departments to implement their own policies separately. Answer. C. Develop a balanced solution integrating strong security with user-friendly features. Explanation. A balanced approach. Option C ensures both security and usability, making the platform effective. Security first. Option A may frustrate users. Usability first. Option B risks breaches and separate policies. Option D lead to inconsistency. Question 29. While investigating a complicated issue between different stakeholders, a government agency must resolve conflicts between environmental conservationists and local businesses regarding land use policies. What is the best way to mediate a fair outcome? A. Fully support the conservationists' position to protect the environment. B. Favor local businesses to encourage economic growth. C. Facilitate discussions and create policies that address both economic and environmental concerns. D. Avoid involvement and let both sides resolve the issue independently. Answer. C. Facilitate discussions and create policies that address both economic and environmental concerns. Explanation. Balanced mediation. Option C ensures that both sides' interests are considered, leading to a sustainable solution. Favoring one side entirely. Options. And B neglects the other, while non-involvement. Option D may result in unresolved conflicts. Question 30. During a major transformation where existing methods are being replaced, a company faces internal pushback from employees who are accustomed to the old ways of working. What is the most effective way to ensure a successful transformation? A. Mandate immediate adoption of the new methods with no exceptions. B. Provide training, communicate the benefits, and gradually transition to new methods. C. Allow employees to choose whether to adopt the new methods or stick to the old ones. D. Reverse the transformation if resistance is too high. Answer. B. Provide training, communicate the benefits, and gradually transition to new methods. Explanation. Gradual implementation. Option B reduces resistance while ensuring employees understand the changes. Forcing immediate adoption. Option A creates frustration, offering choice. Option C leads to inconsistency and reversing the change. Option D prevents progress.